Island. And if you're on my Facebook page, of course, my husband shared this crazy picture of me on the, I can't remember the name of the roller coaster with my mouth wide open. So I'm a little hoarse from doing all the screaming. um, so I'd like to welcome Miss Hope to our page and ask her if she will just to let us know a little bit about her experience.
Okay. Hi everyone. I was abducted when I was 9 years old out of a large park in Indiana. Um, I was drugged somehow with something going into my shoulder and put in a van and woke up um, next to two other girls chained hours later. Um, we
So
were
so you were in this park, and did you see these people? I mean, did how did they get next to you?
Well, see, the part that I was at, my neighborhood was kind of connected to the nature preserve and the back bike trails and things like that. And I was wandering around one of the bike trails where there was a creek and a little parking lot. Um, I was 9 years old. I was just walking. I wasn't really thinking about anything. And it was actually a parked car in that parking lot. It was actually a construction van. Um, and so they put that thing in my arm, and next thing I knew, I was chained with two other girls around my age. Um, yeah.
Wow. So you were wow. Did you know these other girls by chance?
No, I did not.
Oh goodness. So can you go a little further? Do you feel comfortable? Let me stop for a second. And to protect her privacy, that's why we don't have her face up. Um, we don't want people, reaching out to her, and she doesn't want anyone to feel sorry for her at all. That's not her, but she does want, people to understand that this is real and that it is actually happened. Um, to people that, I mean, they say one in every 20 girls have been trafficked in some um, way. They probably didn't even know that that's actually what happened to them until they get educated about this situation and they're trafficked, So, and it may be even more than that, but only if you feel comfortable speaking about what happened later after that. Is that okay? How do you feel?
Sorry. Yeah, I can go into a little more detail. Um, so that was just the first stop. From what my parents have told me, and um, the repressed memories coming back over the years. We were still in Indiana at that point when I woke up. We were attacked, we were raped, it was by multiple men.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and we were held at gunpoint. Um, and then we were put back into a van, not drugged this time. And we went on a couple-hour ride to somewhere in Ohio, which is where we were found a couple of days later. Um, so
Holy cow.
one of the girls did not make it. They actually killed her in front of me and the other girl, who I'm still in touch with from today. And
Oh my God. That is just like oh, I'm sorry that has happened to you. That is just it. Yeah, everyone's in here like how horrifying. Um, I, I, how horrible! Like it's, like so sorry. I don't even know. You have blown me like so far away that it's hard for me to even go on like what questions to ask you. Um, and I'm saying that first because I'm just floored that this has happened to you. And then secondly, I don't want to trigger anything, you know? Wow. Wow. So let me ask you this. Let's go to a brighter note. How were you guys found?
So we were actually found by some sort of SWAT team that was actually looking for the girl who had died. Um, her parents or family of some sort had law enforcement connections of some sort. Um, so they, used their resources to try to find her. But it was too late for her, unfortunately. Um, but they came in with smoke bomb things, like the smoke the air so you can't see.
Oh yeah.
Um, Carried us out and put us in an ambulance.
So you ended up at this person's home?
No, we ended up in Ohio,
Mhm.
and the kind of same situation as Indianapolis. We were chained.
So
Indianapolis, we were told that it was like underground tunnels. Um, but in Ohio, I'm not sure. It looked like a basement to me. Um, but it was really dirty and like, water was on the floor and draining into a little drain on the floor and we were chained. Um, but
wow. 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 I'm just like,
they were going to sell us. It was a whole group of people. Um, they we were going to be used as some sort of selling or um, fun for them, I guess, was their plans.
wow. Listen, for me, being at a loss for words is not, that's not something you hear. I'm just not at a loss for words. I yeah, I want to cry too, Maria. This is some deep shit, people. Like this, and for you to survive that and be the strong person that you are and be able to tell your story, I commend you a million times over. This is this is wow. Wow.
Yeah.
There is a question. Um, Sell to who? Who would buy a woman chained up? Well, let's just say this, Natasha. They weren't even women. She was 9 years old at the time. So it's children. It, whew, I'm just like, this is amazing. How do you do I know you said, it was 9 and you don't really remember much, but this has to be like some kind of do you ever think about it? I guess.
Well, that's a good question because I didn't remember fully until I was about 13
Mm,
that had actually happened to me in that extremity.
mm,
Um, and ever since then, I still get flashbacks and nightmares, and I've gone to therapy, and we've worked out a lot of the repressed memories.
mm.
But I think about it a lot more now that I have more memories now
Yeah.
um, than I did when I was a teenager. But I also, my actions, my parents got divorced because of it. Um, my drug addiction gene, my addiction gene was triggered because of trauma. I chose partners who were abusive or, you know, not, needed taken care of, dependent. It went either way. Um, and it didn't really get better for me until I went to therapy and started talking about it and worked through it. Um, about last year is actually when I publicly, or not publicly, but like, if it's mentioned or someone says something, yeah, I say it now. But
Mhm.
that took a lot for me. I gained my voice in 2020 a little bit more
Yeah,
than I had in a long time. And so about last year, after my partner and I went on a trip to New Jersey, um, I've just been more open about it.
yeah, yeah. That man, you're amazing. It makes me just want to like smile inside because it that takes a lot. And I understand what you mean by getting your voice back after the trauma. I feel the same way about my sister. I finally got my voice back, after all the depression and things that I was in at that moment, not from, it doesn't even touch your experience, but just not wanting to live and not wanting to be in this world at all. After losing my dad and losing so many people and things like that. So I totally get it when you talk about that. Yeah. And so for me, I put my effort and thoughts not into not wanting to live, but wanting to live. I now have a purpose. My husband talks a lot about this book called Man's Search for Meaning. I got my meaning, after Kaya disappeared. So, do you think that's what it took you like to go? Like, was it more of you talking more about it, or was it more of more tragic things happened to you, and that's what gave you your search for meaning?
I wouldn't say more tragic, but um, tragic things did happen that triggered that voice getting back. Um, I wasn't allowed to talk about it growing up. Um,
Oh,
they wanted me to forget. They probably wish I never got my memories back. Um, and so I think the more traumatic events that I went through right before you met me and knew me um, is what gained my courage to use my voice.
mhm.
But I do still like I know with your sister, um, I share her stuff and I try to share missing things stuff, but I can't do the work for the advocacy for it. I tried and I
Right.
had nightmares every night.
Yeah.
So
And I can understand that. Totally understand that. So with this being a tragic event for you, I heard you said, your parents got divorced over it and things like that. Was there anything else that happened with your family besides like, um, I guess what I want to educate people on is it's not that person's fault that they got anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you went through this, it wasn't your fault. You were being a kid. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is why does it affect families like this? What are your thoughts on it?
like why it affects family or how?
Yeah. Yeah, like why? Why do you feel like it affected your family? to get this divorce? That's one
Oh,
thing I'm
ooh.
trying to understand.
Because my parents owned a bar with one of my parents' parents, so my grandparents, and they worked almost all the time, and my grandparents watched over us most of the time. There were three of us, and my parents disagreed on some things about if they weren't working all the time and my grandparents weren't watching me, that this wouldn't have happened. Um, I think my father, he couldn't comprehend, he couldn't accept that that happened to me.
Mhm.
Um, he still won't talk to me about it. Um,
That hurts so bad. It just, boy, it just, wow. That kills me inside. Like it wasn't your fault.
yeah,
Do you still talk to the other girls that were in this with you?
I talked to the girl who lived. Um, she could not make it today. She
No.
just wasn't comfortable, um, but we only, we have a trauma bond, and we both understand that, which is good because some people just don't get that.
Right.
um so we keep our distance, but we check up on each other, and if we're having nightmares like chronically or need someone to talk to about it, we confide in each other. But for the most part, that's all we do.
Is there if is there any warnings that you would give to anyone else? I mean, you're a child just walking in the woods, like children do. Would would there be any warnings that you would give to any adult women or even adolescents, teenagers about what happened to you?
um Really, uh I mean, just listen to your gut. Like, if you're a teenager or a young woman, or something's off about someone, or you think this doesn't happen, it does. And
Yes.
and this is hard for me to say, and it's hard to do in that moment, but like, only fight back when you have to,
Mm.
because you want to keep your energy if you can get out.
Wow. I never thought about that. I never thought about that. That was deep, Hope. That was really deep because yeah. So I, I'm never at a loss for words. You know that I just don't even know what how to. I, you're a strong woman. You're a very strong woman, and to be able to tell your story and to be able to um, live through it, like a lot of people say I couldn't do it, but you have to, you kind of have to want to get through it. Wow,
Yeah,
this
I
is
hated myself for a long time, and I did a lot of behaviors I shouldn't have done. That I ran away. I took a stolen car across country with heroin addicts. You know, but all before I was 18, and that's why. And I think that I'm strong now, but it didn't make me strong. I had to make myself strong.
oh wow, that's deep.
And I still struggle with suicidal ideation. So, um, unfortunately, my genes have addiction and mental illnesses in it. And it's a fact, scientific fact, that if you have a trauma happen to you, that those trigger those genes. And
Mm,
I
wow,
didn't have a fighting chance when I was younger. I've just now, since I had a son a couple of years ago, is when I started getting my life actually on track. So
your meaning, man search for meaning. There's your meaning, your baby. That's just amazing, man, how you just overcame this and things like that. Um, so as far as Kaya and Kelly and Veronica um, and Matt, we don't know where or what is going on with our family members. Um, what can you tell us though, as the family, if we find out that they were trafficked in any way? What would you recommend that we do as a family for them whenever they come back? Like, what do you recommend?
Don't let them hide it, but also let them do it at their own time. But do everything you can to make sure that they know they can be open if they want to, that they can talk about it if they want to, that their experience is theirs and no one else's to say who can and can't talk about it. And don't push them, but just let them know that
Their
it's
experience.
important for them to express that if they want to.
Okay, that's cool. Wow. So, do you think that it's better for us, if and when we find our family members, that we allow them to come to us? Like, we shouldn't ask any questions? Like, let them come to us when they're ready to talk about it? Is that what you mean?
Um, I mean, everyone's different, I guess. So, in a way, what I mean is don't hide from it. Don't, say don't ever say you don't want to hear it or
Mhm.
that's too violent. I don't want to hear those things happen to you. No. Those happen to them and let them speak them if they want to.
Gotcha, gotcha. When this happened to you and they found you guys, I know you said they sent you to a hospital to be checked out, but did they offer any counseling at that time?
I don't know. They talked to my parents, not me. Um, my
Okay,
parents did not put me in counseling.
okay,
So,
okay,
um, at least I don't remember. So,
okay.
like the hospital trip and me going back to Indiana is still kind of a blur.
Mhm. Do you know whatever happened to this group of men?
Not really. They had been gone for a couple of hours when we were found.
Mhm.
Um, and from what we know, they deserted us, kind of basically. I don't know if that's because they knew someone was onto them or whatever. I didn't know the situation. I just know that it was a gang sort of traffickers. Um,
Shut up. This is crazy.
and it happens a lot in Indiana, especially the city. And they don't do a lot about it.
I know in Florida they have, when they get the women out of these drug trafficking rings, they don't even notify the family until these girls have gone through extensive counseling. They send them to a place first, and after they're finished with that counseling is when they notify the family. Um, so that's why I was kind of asking that question because I'm wondering, do they do that in Indiana, and what can we do as a community to get them to understand that this shit is real? It's still going on today. We still have all these people missing. Like, we need to do something. So, is there any resources in the community that you're aware of that survivors of sex trafficking or human trafficking or any kind of trafficking can be a part of?
I do know of a few like Facebook groups for trafficking survivors that are very private and confidential, and they vet you and things like that. Um, the Julian Center in Indiana helped me a lot when I finally started going to therapy. Um,
It's called the what center?
the Julian Center,
Okay.
but I've heard a lot of bad things about them since in the last couple of years, so I don't know if I would recommend them or not. Um, but really, the support groups have been a lot of help for me. When I was a mid-teen to almost 20, think we still had chat rooms and things like that. And they had groups like that, but you don't find those as much. So, I mean, there's, the trafficking awareness website, and then the support groups. Um,
Cool. I was watching the documentary of I can't remember their names right now, but the girls that were found in Ohio, the three girls that were kept in the house for like 10, 12 years. You remember those? Oh, uh-oh, lost hope. So I was watching that documentary and I noticed that the one of the girls actually has a um, missing persons, it's Ohio Missing Persons Education Center, or
Kicked me out, so I just missed the last like 20 seconds.
oh, it's okay. So I was asking if you remembered the three girls that were uh, kidnapped in Ohio and they were in that house for like 10, 12, 15 years.
I'm not sure what year was that. It sounds familiar, but I
This
always
is
read things like this.
Yeah, I know, right? It was pretty recently, but I know one of the girls actually has um a center in Ohio for missing adults and kids. Gosh, I wish I could remember what it was. Actually followed them on Facebook. Can't remember exactly what it was, but she did do that. There it is. Somebody remembered between 2002 and 2004, Ariel Castro kidnapped Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Georgina DeJesus. Georgina DeJesus is the one that has thank you so much for reminding me of that. Georgina DeJesus is the one that has the the building. So it's a huge building, and from what I understand, they're helping a lot of people out there. I just have to find the name of it, and I'll put it in the comments later so you guys can cross reference to it. Also, Amanda Berry has a little missing persons part on Fox News. Go figure that. But um, but she's actually on the news and she's actually doing that. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. And really I hope and pray that someday we'll be able to do that. Just have all of the local news stations just 10, 15-second little blurb on everybody that's missing in their community. I mean, if they're community oriented, they do that. I don't see any issues with that. And I've reached out to a couple, and of course, I haven't received any information back from them. However, I won't stop. I'll keep trying. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Co.
I hope you keep trying because that's one of the big things thank you, I wanted to touch on is we need independent media and independent awareness that isn't within the news stations that are bought by law enforcement or um, nonprofits and things like that, because they might not miss and report it, but they might not even report it because they're told not to, or
Absolutely.
they don't, and I know in Indianapolis specifically, like Fox News and what's that, RWRTV and stuff. Like the police pay them annually for, like, they have contracts with each other and things like that, like not to
Oh,
put out certain shit, or they have to talk to them before they put this,
I
and
didn't
they
know
can,
this.
yeah, and they can call the big people and pull something that they saw that they didn't want, or um so, and it's not usually done uh legally or by protocol or whatever they have. It's just the big man knows the other big man, you know what I mean? And they want their city to look good. They don't want people to worry. They don't want oppression being seen. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah,
Wow. I
and I
didn't
think
know.
family led and survivor led and people who aren't doing it for money and for show or to just show their face on there, that needs to happen.
Yeah,
And is it funded and uh bound by contracts?
yeah. How do we find those type of people? I mean, I for one know that Georgia Fort is the bomb. Like she doesn't mind giving us any. Mhm. She doesn't mind giving us any. I can call her and I can say, Georgia, can you do this and this and this? She still helps me to this day, and she did my sister's video like over a year ago. But how do we get a hold of those people? How do we? I mean, what do you think? What's your take on it?
Well, my opinion is that the people are there. We know the people who would do it, and it's it's the fundraising and the support to be able to do so and put their time into it and not be financially struggling because of it. Like,
Yeah.
it's making that be then them, to my opinion, is like for them to be able to do that without struggling or um compromising their income or anything like that. We need to fund, and it needs to be or fundraise or sponsored, and then those people, like, I'm sure a few that would be great for that. It's just, do we have the means to support them so they can do so?
Honestly, right now, well, I don't know if you know or not, but even the GoFundMe that I'm trying to do for the billboard, um, I put it out there for $1,200. It's been on there for about 2 months now. Um, I I got about $250. So fundraising is hard, especially when you have family and you have to work and you have to pay bills and you know what I'm saying? So you have to take care of your family, plus you want to take care of this independent investigative reporter, but that's kind of hard too. It's I don't know. I've really been trying. I've really been trying to, kick the pavement and, try and find different things to do to raise funds, but
And you're
uh,
doing an excellent job. I don't know if I would be able to do it if my sister was still missing out there, and I
I
think
do it because I have to. I have to. Period.
I get that.
Mm. I don't know how you're still doing it. Like you have put my respect for you on a whole different level, honey. I didn't realize all of this. It's wild. It. I don't know how you're doing it. Yeah, you're doing a great job. Keep going hard. I don't know if that was to you or to me, but we're gonna take it for both of us. We're gonna keep doing a great job and keep going hard, no matter what. We're gonna keep going. Um, Man, I just want to thank you so much for being on here and telling your experience. And I hope that I have not triggered you in any way. Um, And if you need me, call me. I'm always here. And um, we'll keep each other strong because, everybody needs somebody. So,
Well, thank you for having me. And, I love you and you're strong. And we will keep each other going. And I'm here if you ever need me as well.
I definitely know that. I know that to be true. If you want to go ahead and sign off, I'm cool with that. I'm just going to talk to the audience a little bit, or you can stay on and listen, whatever your heart desires. Okay.
Well, I think my son wants me, so I'm gonna do that. But I love you and thank you.
Thank you, and I love you more. All right. So, guys, I wanted to. she, Miss Maria said to stay. Um, just wanted to let everyone know about, again, our GoFundMe for our billboards. We definitely need these billboards so much. We need to get our families, all of our families, name, face, and case out to the public more in the local area. So we do have $255, excuse me, for the billboards. They are 500 apiece. So if we can't get to the 1,200, well, it's 500 plus tax. That's why I asked for the $1,200. If we're unable to get the $1,200, we'll do the 500 for the one billboard, even though we really, really, really want to get as many as we can. The GoFundMe is on the Missing Struggles page, also on my Facebook um, page. Can you post the link for the billboard again? You mean post the link for the GoFundMe? Is that what you mean? Because I'll definitely do that in the comments. Also, we have some other things that are in play as far as the Missing Struggle is concerned. We have um, the Missing Struggle page now. So if you're on here and you want to follow our every other week panel discussions, please do that by following the Missing Struggle page and group, or you can also just join me here on my Facebook page. We are also in the works of doing what we call a Missversary. We are trying to get sponsors as far as, and other groups, not just sponsors, but any search and rescue groups, any private investigators, any 501c3 groups that deal with missing persons, sex and human trafficking, domestic violence, anything in the nature of the missing struggle, like what families members go through with those that are missing. Um, if there's anyone that has any ideas of what types of experiences you guys want to see on our panel discussions, please reach out. You can also tag me or tag the Missing Struggle and let us know of some things that you want us to talk about or some people you want us to reach out to. Or if you know any family, any friends, um, any associates that have family members of the missing that would be interested in joining our collective of families, please tell them to reach out to me. We do a Facebook Messenger group that we speak to one another and kind of hold each other up. We give each other some updates, and we don't talk outside that group because that group is our business. That's what we keep our personal information in. If there's something the police didn't tell us, told us not to talk about, then we keep it in that group. If it's just a comfort for the families of the missing. So if you guys have anyone that wants to be a part of that, please let us know. If you have any information about any other groups that we would be interested in collaborating with anything, whether it's rallies, if it's protest, if it's speaking engagements, it doesn't matter. In any state, in any city, we will reach out. Sometimes I'll even go to those cities or states and meet with those families. My goal is to actually, somebody um, recommended this, that I go to different states and different cities and actually interview um, family members of the missing one on one. Go to their house, speak with them, just kind of like an investigative discovery. Reporter, and post it on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. So I think that would be a great idea. It's going to take some time, effort, and money, but we'll get that off the ground as well. I thank you all for coming on and listening. And please leave any comments or any questions, any ideas, leave them here in the comments. Don't forget to follow our Miss and Struggle page. Thank you, and you guys have a wonderful night.